everybody. This is Judge Dawn. Welcome to As the Law Turns. Oh, this hair is doing what it wants to do tonight. We are excited about our show once again. We're all excited about our show because our shows are just good. They're just good. If you're a first-time listener, I am Judge Dawn. Judge Vivian is signing out in about 30 seconds. We are part of the 5%ers. 5% of lawyers in America are Black, and I think 3% are women, or maybe they have a figure mixed up, but we are part of the 5 and 3%. The purpose of As the Law Turns is to encourage people, especially minority people, especially minority females. And I'm going to say minority females over 60, woohoo, like I am 63, but who's counting? Is to practice law, to be involved in some sort of law. I mean, everything we do, where you can park your car, how you can sell up a timeshare, adoption, taxes, everything involves some sort of law. I mean, down to the basics like buying a car, getting married. Everything involves a law and license. So the goal of As the Law Turns is to spurn your spurns. I just make that word up. Spur or spurn. Well, okay, I have to stop making words up. To spurn your interest in law. So we are excited you're here. We're here every Thursday at 7 o'clock. Every Thursday at 7 o'clock. Thursday, 7 o'clock to 7:30. And I think we're on Twitter, Twig, whatever. I know we're on Facebook. I know that. So welcome everybody. Judge Vivian, good afternoon. How are you?
That Twitter tweet and everything every
I don't know what
time. It is Twitter, Judge. But we are not on Twitter, guys. So don't look for us there. You will not. Okay. We are on YouTube and we're on Facebook Live. And sometimes, hi, my people on Instagram. I get a chance to talk to my people on Instagram.
Instagram. That's what I meant to say. Instagram. I was something with the T in it. Somewhere in a T. Twitter, Instagram. I knew somewhere with a T somewhere.
You guys, I am going to turn the camera so you can also see Judge Dawn in a minute. But hi, guys. It is a pleasure being one of your hosts of this show. As Judge Dawn says, our goal is to increase this 5% of Black attorneys in the United States. Women are 2%. Black men are 3%. I know they outnumber us, which is kind of shocking. So I'm like, ooh. But I am excited to have this show because tonight we are talking about something like is everywhere. Squid Game. Okay, I just want to throw this out here, Judge, really fast. I talked to you about 2-3 weeks ago about the fact that anyone who knows me knows that I thoroughly enjoy K-dramas, which are Korean dramas, and C-dramas, which are Chinese dramas. Like I love them. I watch them way more than my mom would like me to. So now that people are like, oh my God, I love Squid Game. I'm like, oh, okay. Now you want to, after all the talking about me that has been done, because millions of people around the world are now Squid Game. And I'm over here like, I will see Squid Game because I like K-dramas. However, excuse y'all for now jumping on board and trying to make me seem like, I'm not the normal one.
Pull up, Judge Vivian. Pull up before you crash and burn. Pull up. Okay. Take a deep. Pull up. Pull up. That's a shame. People are jumping on the bandwagon. Not only people are jumping on the bandwagon, our big lawsuit is about to happen. That's publicity for everything about Squid Game and Netflix. Sometimes I need to give the story, but sometimes I wonder if this is all a big publicity drama. I just don't know. Well, we'll get the story.
I don't know. And that's a great question. It's okay. So Netflix is being sued right now, guys, because of the biggest streaming show almost in history. And by history, apparently it's not just Netflix. Although Netflix has different places. Netflix has different streaming services in different countries. It is strongly becoming probably the most streamed show ever right now. It is that popular. And so there are two major lawsuits that Netflix may be embroiled in very soon that I think is going to be quite interesting. One of them is South Korea. Now, okay, let's back.
Can we get the listeners to comment, chat,
Yes.
talk to us?
Has anyone seen Squid Game, or does anyone plan to see Squid Game? Do you know what we're even talking about? Do you watch Netflix? I know the Netflix and chill is popular, and most people now have, the Netflix and chill and do all of that kind of thing. But if anybody's interested in seeing the show or have seen the show, comment. Do you want to see the show? Are you interested in the show? Comment, let us know. For those that don't care that much, it's cool to me. So,
the legal point is still the legal point. Whether you call it Squid Game or Octopus Game or Fish Game or Tail of Fish or Donkey Kong, the legal issue is still interesting and the same.
The show Squid Game is apparently about it's almost like a thriller. It's to me a downgraded version of Saw. For those that know what Saw is, it's kind of like a thriller. It's kind of like a game of people's lives. Anyway, it's a very popular show written by a Korean man. The Netflix bought out the storyline and decided to make it one of their popular shows that's streaming on their service. Apparently, and this is a really cool thing about this guy could not get funding or anybody to pay attention to this show for almost 10 years. Which is what I think is so cool also about this.
10 years ago, society was not as demented as it is now, but I digress.
I will say that there is other utopian books like this one that are out, and basically this is about a utopian society, and he couldn't get anything to happen, and traction has now moved, and now he's gotten to a place where it is the most popular streaming show on Netflix. Well, in there he has a little card. I don't know if anybody who has seen the show, and I am sorry for those who I will be spoiling this show for. There's a little card with a triangle, if I'm not mistaken, a circle and a square that is often shown on and off constantly throughout the show. And that square has a number on the back of it, that card. And with that card came a number that some smart person, and I only can say it that way, twofold, because I do believe it was kind of a smart idea, decided to actually call the number on the back of the card. Over time, more and more people began to call the number on the back of the card. And guess what? Dun, 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 dun. It's a real telephone number of a guy who lives in South Korea.
Wow.
And so he has gotten thousands upon hundreds of thousands of prank calls now following this utopian thought process of Squid Game. And he's sick and tired of it because people are calling his number. It's his actual number. Rumors around this, and there's a lot of swirling rumors. There's no actual, at least not from what I could find online. I didn't see there to be any actual news stories covering it, just a lot of rumors kind of swirling about it. This guy has had this number for almost 10 years. Doesn't really want to change it because he's had the number for so long and it's been so, his number. Mm-hmm. And it's not exactly excited that he's getting these thousands of calls. I want to start off with Judge. What's your thoughts on that part?
About changing his number?
About
suing Squid Game?
No, I mean the take on the number being on the card. Allegedly, this was an accident by the writer.
I was going to say, there's an accident, and there's an accident because you didn't research enough. You didn't have your facts checked, you research enough. But I think people should be compensated whether it's an accident or you didn't research enough, because the pain and aggravation, the stress of changing a number, I need something, and not just an apology, not just say, and I'm going to let it go. This is what loss was about. You did me wrong. You injured me in some way. My privacy is not destroyed. My life is not destroyed because if you accidentally or not accidentally, cars are accidents. Some homicides are accidents. Some house fires are accidents. But still, even that means the law should maybe recognize that you did something wrong, intentionally or accidentally, and you owe me something. I mean, it was most of the torts are unintentional torts. You did something, a car accident, you dogged my prize law bush. I mean, rose bush. You didn't do it intentionally. I think you should be compensated for its pain and suffering and inconvenience. Not millions and millions of dollars. Not millions and millions of dollars, but somewhere in the movie, the play, it should be scroll like we're scrolling now. Please don't call this number. Please don't call this number. If you don't know what number we're talking about, don't worry about it. But there's a number that's associated with this movie. Please don't call this number.
I didn't think of that as being a remedy, but that's not a bad idea. But then again, when you do that, don't you bring more attention to it, thereby probably making people want to call it more because you told them not to do it?
Well, that's true. The scrolling probably doesn't work. Scrolling, some sort of remedy. We're involved in a lawsuit over this. Fans, help us out. There's always going to be that's odd ones are going to think it's nice, and I think the guy should change his number. I mean, it's inconvenient. I understand it's really inconvenient. The numbers of people in high school have this number. Your aunties and uncles from neighbors and have this number, but you kind of have a choice to make: the aggravation, millionaire, but the aggravation, or change your number and accept the apology and get some compensation from it.
I'll say this: another rumor that's swirling around about it is that Netflix offered to buy out the number. So he has somewhat, in my opinion, of a remedy if that rumor is true. The rumor is that they did offer him approximately in American monies, $80,000 to $70,000 to buy out the number.
Not enough.
Make it a dead number so that they could keep it in the film. Because Netflix is pretty much like, and I don't blame them. Netflix is pretty much like, no, this is making us good money, sir. We are not pulling the plug on the biggest streaming show we've ever had. So I don't blame Netflix for not wanting to stop airing the show. But then again, I get what you're saying. It's an unintentional harm, but it's still a harm. He's still being harassed. He's still being aggravated. He's still being, tortured. Whatever the people are doing, that they are mimicking the utopian Squid Game universe thought process. He's still the person that is being affected by it. So I understand that. And so I'm like, okay, I feel bad for him. But I also think $85,000 to change your number.
No, because my lawyer's going to get $20,000 of that.
If he sues, but right now, rumor has it, he has not had an official suit. He just officially reached out to Netflix and was
I'm going to have a lawyer read this contract and it's a settlement agreement and over and over and over and have to contact with somebody. And the lawyer's going to get percentage, 3%, 5%, 6%, but it's not acceptable. Not $80,000. That's
really more.
No, more.
I think
not millions of dollars, but I think the industry should be a little bit more careful. Do your research, check your facts. All you have to do is dial that number and say, oops, it belongs to someone. It's just that simple. I shouldn't do this. This is belonging to someone. You did it. You thought it was whatever, cute or not cute, didn't worry about it. Some like, kidnapping a homeless person. Nobody's going to care. Well, somebody does care. That's my personal number. I had forever. Mom had that number. My teachers had that number, and it's inconvenient to me. 80,000 just is not enough. Not enough.
Now, that's 80,000 in American dollars. If I'm not mistaken, that is closer to 1 million in Korean money.
But the value of it is 80,000, even a million a career. It's an 80,000 value. If it's an 80,000 value, that's not acceptable. And I'm not saying money hungry, but this is not acceptable. Not for a big corporation of Netflix. You have hundreds of writers and fact checkers and editors, and this is simple. Just dial the number. Just dial the number and say, oops, don't do this.
I mean, to some respect, I agree, but I also think that's an exorbitant. I mean, people change their numbers all the time for no reason. They talk about they have to give it away or tell the person, oh, I want to do this and send it around when they randomly change it. So I don't know. Part of me feels like that's a decent amount of compensation for his telephone number being
But
changed.
it's always the art of negotiation. I say to the offended person, my client Netflix can't apologize enough. There's a big corporation, and we should have done better. We should have done better. We should have done better. We want to compensate you for your torture. How much do you think is reasonable? And let's play around with that number. He may say 100,000. Okay, good. Let's sign a check. He may say 1 million. And then we're into litigation. But to offer me 80,000, like that's enough for me. You can't tell me what's enough for me. At least let's throw it out. In our negotiation, just throw it out and see what I say.
Okay.
I don't know what they did, but I think that the better thing is, I think lawyers should do that all the time. The state says, Ms. Williams, what will your client kind of take? And you say, well, he'll take 4 years in prison. I said, okay, I'm offering 6 years in prison. And we negotiate. When I start, your client 6 years, whoa, hold up, wait a minute. I can't even take them. You have to take to your client. But I'm thinking more for you hard like that. Wow, stop.
That's true. That's true. And this is all the beginnings. It's all a bunch of, right now, it's all a bunch of, I would say, swirling rumors, because there has been, as I mentioned before, a solidified story that he is going to sue Netflix, just that he did reach out to Netflix and say, hey, this is a real number. People are calling me and pranking me. And, my life has been severely hampered by this. Is there a way that we can work out making this work? So I got a feeling they're going to be in negotiation about this telephone number for quite some time, because the movie is gaining traction like a snowstorm. It's coming down like an avalanche. Everybody's in love with this movie. It is one of the most popular streaming productions that Netflix has ever had. And I think Netflix has been around approximately 10 years now.
I don't know. About 10?
I believe it's about 10 years now. So the fact that Netflix has been around for so long and it's still gaining traction, and you know how quickly we as people let go of things, like a couple weeks later, we're like, no, or 2, 3, 4 weeks later, we're like, we don't care no more. But the fact that it is still going and it's still gaining traction till it gets us to our next topic of the night, that South Korea's server or internet circuit crashed, guys. Completely crashed. So many people were trying to watch Squid Game that the internet server in Korea crashed. And so they've had to have consistent maintenance on the internet server in Korea. And so Korean internet server said, we're going to sue Netflix and make Netflix pay for all of the monies that we have had to put into getting this server fixed every single time it crashes, because too many people are trying to watch Squid Game at the same time.
Now, here I go again a little bit. You got lawyers, you're probably paying $400, $500, $600 an hour. All kind of lawyers out the paper side, lawyers out the windows, all types of lawyers. Korean lawyers and American lawyers. Netflix couldn't sit down and say, okay, I think this thing going to blow up. American's lawyer says, no, it's not going to blow up. Okay, let's have some sort of balloon feature or something in this contract to say, if it blows, if it doesn't blow, two people can negotiate any deal they want to, anything that's legal. So no lawyers on either side saw that this potentially could be something big. If it's not something big, that's fine. But if it's something big, this is what we need to do. I know all lawsuits cannot be avoided. I understand people, unexpected intentions, unexpected consequences, but you're streaming a show. You know how society is nowadays. 10 years ago, this wouldn't work. You know what's popular out there. We love smut, sex, gore, whatever. And so Netflix has made millions of dollars off of tapping into people's interests. Like I was watching Orange is the New Black. I mean, I'm a lawyer. I'm watching a prison movie because
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Oh, that was just another prison movie. All kinds of family and prison and law. And I was watching it all the time. And so Netflix kind of knows this, whatever they've been in business. So no one could sit in the board and say, let's see what's going on. Now, the other point I wanted to make, I would I would not want to be the lawyers that didn't see this. Like, you make an offer to your client, you sign the deal, and all of a sudden the house floods, or all of a sudden a plane drops in, and I didn't see it, and you're paying me for my legal advice, 400, 500, $600 an hour, and you're paying me, and oops, I missed this. I would not want to be the legal staff of Netflix or that SKS, that South Korean studio that missed it. I missed it. Things happen. I understand that, but I wouldn't want to explain to my boss, the reason we're being sued is because I didn't anticipate this. Wow, that's a hard pill to swallow.
I agree with you. I completely agree with you, especially being that our jobs is to try to predict what, you know, all the bad things that could go down. So I agree with you there, but I also didn't. I mean, how many times have they not predicted something like this? This happened with Marvel actually a couple years ago when Black Panther came out.
Oh,
they didn't anticipate the Black Panther to be as good as it was going to be, and they actually planned, like you said, for the overlap, because they did expect it to do decently well. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, at that time they were saying they expected about $50 million from it, but they didn't expect it to literally be one of the quickest Marvel movies to hit billion-dollar status.
Nice.
And it didn't just do it in the United States. It did it in Korea. It did it in China. It did it. And so they couldn't keep up with the popularity that it created so much. I mean, and it was so popular until there are actually still clips going around. Rest in peace. I love Chadwick Boseman. I have always been a fan of him. But there are even clips going around of people in other countries, not just the United States, calling him king as he walked down the red carpet. Like, his popularity was so popular, they were like bowing and chanting and considering them his king, their king. So, I mean, maybe they did plan, but just honestly, this movie is becoming literally the most streamed production in something that's already new. Streaming is so new. Remember last time we also talked about Marvel, that streaming is so new that they didn't even account for it in one of the contracts for one of the most popular Marvel actresses of the Marvel universe. So it's like, I feel you. But the other part of
another point I need to make, that you don't have to necessarily be a lawyer and pass the bar to get involved in the kind of thing. You can be a mediator, a negotiator. It's nice to know something about contracts, but if you have the personality and you have the art, you know the art of the deal, you know the art of compromise, the art of mediator, and speak well, go to law school. You don't necessarily have to sit for the bar, and you got that lawful experience. You know a little bit about sitting in the table. You need a little bit about the terms they're using, but you don't have to actually practice law. Go to law is good, but you have to practice law. So the point of this show is to spur interest in law and legal related fields. Once again, you can be a mediator. You can be a go-between between the SKS, Tokyo, whatever, Korea, and the Netflix, but without passing a bar.
Yeah. So guys, sound off. Like, have you seen the show? Do you like the show? By the way, this right here is the placard or place card that is in the movie that is causing all of this stir when it comes down to the number. So that little symbol right there apparently has a real number on the back of it that belongs to an actual South Korean man who's been harassed. And I don't know.
So each card has a whole phone number, or the series of cards comprises a phone number?
So it's mainly one card, and it's this card, and this card kept being showed throughout the whole film. And on the back of that card, which Netflix has pretty much tried to take it down for most platforms, so you can't see the number anymore. On the back of that card, there is a actual cell phone number. And so that number has been called and pranked several times. Ariel said, I haven't watched it. I haven't seen it either yet. I probably will end up watching it. As I said, I'm a big fan of Korean and Chinese dramas. So, of course, I have seen way too many of them, guys. But I am curious about it. It's gained quite a bit of popularity here, and I'm kind of curious of, why it's so popular, especially when I'm told that it is almost it's a weird game of life.
And bodies being thrown. I don't know, boxes
It's
being
not,
open and bodies being thrown, and if you lose something, it's the morbidity of it all is just it
it's like
tells you
Saw. I don't know if anybody on our
no.
platform has seen Saw. Saw is a horror film. I'm not a big horror film watcher. I don't really do horror films. That ain't my thing. It's not my genre. But Saw is a horror film that basically is a bunch of riddles or games that he puts these people through as he unfortunately harms them. So I don't know if it's similar to this. I've heard that it has some overlapping between that sort of thought process. It isn't the first utopian thought. There's several. Pleasantville was made into a movie
Yeah.
decades ago, and that is a utopian society. Um, and popular book that actually was on the readers list for the state of Florida for middle school when I was in school, if I'm not mistaken. And that's also another
Pleasantville.
yeah, another and if I'm not mistaken, it was about it's been a long time, guys. It was about a black and white world, literally where the world was devoid of color.
Uh-huh.
There's a couple of other nuances in it that are way more nuanced than I'm giving it. I'm definitely giving it an overlap right now. But it's not the first utopian movie to come out, which is another reason why I'm not sure that Netflix was prepared for the crazy that went down. But I agree with you that Netflix should have been more prepared for this big reason. And I'm going to say this because Korean artistry and Korean, what's the word I'm trying to say? Culture is permeating the United States right now at
Uh-huh.
drastically high numbers. Um, it literally almost BTS is one of the most popular music groups in the world and in the United
Wow.
States right now, and that's a Korean group.
Wow.
One of the most popular solo artists is Korean. You have Wonho, you have Lisa. All of
Mhm.
these people are Korean. Korea's culture right now is heavily permeating the United States. So I don't see why Netflix didn't kind of overgauge just a little bit. Especially also due to the fact that Netflix just signed like a 14, I think of 14 or 40, I can't remember right now, $1 million deal with Korea because they know that the Korean programming market is so high. So I'm like, maybe this was on you, Netflix.
Now, I have to say to the listeners and readers, you don't need to know about Marvel and Korean and the popularity to be a lawyer for these people. You learn it. You learn the basics of law, how to spot issues, how to research, how to sit at the table and negotiate. And so don't be afraid, like, I don't know anything about Marvel, I don't know anything on Netflix, I don't know anything about broadband width, nothing like that. You know the law, you know how to research the law, you know how to talk law, you need to read a contract. The words may say Netflix or Google or something like that. This is a thing you can learn from your client. So don't be afraid to say, I can't go to law school because I don't know these things. You got 3 years to learn how to research the law. And basically, law school teaches you kind of how to research, how to spot an issue and how to research. We don't know anything. We don't know a lot about anything when we finish law school. We have a smattering of what they call torts and contracts and taxes. I think tax was an option. Civil procedure, a little criminal law, or a little research, a little writing. That's like about 6 semesters of different topics. So you go out of law school learning how to research. So don't be afraid to say, I don't know anything about this. You don't have to do. You don't have to.
Exactly. And additionally, I before we only got like a minute or two left, so I do want to hear everybody's thoughts on the thing. Do you think that Netflix should pay him, first of all? So sound off, jurors. Do you think that Netflix should be paying him roughly the $75,000 to $80,000 in American dollars? But if I'm not mistaken, it's about $1 million in Korean money. To change his number so that they can continue streaming Squid Game, and also, do you think that South Korea's broadband service should have the right to sue Netflix for the maintenance fees on the fact that they've been having outages due to a surge of viewers on their broadband to watch Squid Games.
Well, three questions. Good.
I am sort of on the fence because, as I mentioned earlier, I personally think people change the name for many reasons. So trying to figure out, why not get paid to change your name?
Your number?
Your number. Okay. And then the other thought I have for the Korean thing is y'all.
You're bad, Korea. You're bad. You should have got some smarter lawyers to the table. You're bad. Deal with it.
I want to throw them multiple levels of shade. Like I just don't, and I can't put my shades on fully right now. Hold on, let me get these.
However, I don't know about this company. If Netflix is running over its mom and pop company, big Netflix, shame on you, Netflix. But it was equal bargaining power. You have 100 lawyers. I have 100 lawyers. You've been in business 10 years. I've been in business 10 years. But if your Netflix is running over the little man, I don't like that. I don't like that. Well,
according to the articles that I read as well, Netflix is the second most used American company behind Google in Korea's broadband. So I personally think this is still their fault. You mean to tell me that you have all these millions of people and you didn't think that there's possibly one moment where all these millions of people could be on your service at one time, even if it wasn't Netflix's fault necessarily for giving everybody a movie they liked? Yeah. Like you wasn't prepared for all the people in your network. Really? Like,
do your research, Korea. Do your research.
That's like T-Mobile saying, I'm going to make you, and they probably are doing this. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Probably making us pay money for all the outage issues they have because they can't support all the people that shut up with T-Mobile. You know what I'm saying? Like, that to me is the same difference. That's like, oh, I'm going to make y'all pay for the fact that I'm not doing my job as a company.
And I didn't foresee this. I should have, but I didn't. My bad. Yeah.
Is that not the goal of a broadband company to think that millions of people would be watching something at one time and plan
if it's successful? Yeah. So I want to encourage everybody, tune in every Thursday, 7 o'clock, every Thursday, 7 o'clock, and about Tuesday or Wednesday, start looking up the website to see what the topic is going to be. And we're open to different topics. Tell us what you want to hear, what you want to talk about, and we'll research and we'll talk about it. We want you to comment and see you next Thursday.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you that definitively next Thursday is going to be something about law school because I've been getting a lot of questions from young aspiring lawyers. And I am so excited about that because I would be honest, I know the judge keeps saying legal field, but I kind of want y'all to be lawyers. I'm just saying it's not enough of us. It's not enough of us. 5% of lawyers when over 30% of, the prison population is Black is just crazy to me. So I really want lawyers to come out of this. So I'm excited to start adding in that segment every fourth Thursday that we do of our Thursdays are going to be dedicated some form in shape to law school. We're going to be bringing on some great attorneys that are going to be sitting with us to talk about their experiences with law school, 1L year, 2L year, 3L year.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. 1L is the first lawyer, 2L is the second lawyer, 3L is third lawyer. We call this a 1L, 2L, 3Ls.
It's going to be pretty awesome. I am excited, and I'm hoping that we get some more lawyers. I want a letter. I think what I would love to have is a letter written later where somebody's like, I went to law school and became an attorney because I watched the show. That would just like, that would give you
a special moment.
It would definitely make, something come in my eye. I was not crying. Right. So I have thoroughly enjoyed this. Go and watch Squid Games if you haven't, or if you don't want to, man. It is what it is. And
see you soon. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks
guys. We have had more fun than we probably should have had tonight.
We always do.
I feel like we always do, but
we always do.
Bye.